Hey, welcome back to Shadow Shorts. If we've never met before, my name is Jeff Echols. I'm the head of marketing at Shadow Partners, and today I am joined by a colleague of mine, Manav Mahindru. He is a senior associate at Shadow Partners, and one of the things that I really love working on with, I use that term loosely because he's doing all the work, but I love the fact that Manav is he's really passionate about doing research, and that's one of the things I think that sets Shadow Partners apart in the world of the built environment and innovation in the built environment is the amount of research that's going on. So I asked Manav if he would come on today and talk to me about the importance of research in innovation. So Manav, welcome. Glad you're here. This is not your first time around here on one of these videos, so I'm glad you're back.
Yeah, no, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me on for the Shadow Short. I'm excited to talk a little bit about the research that we do here at Shadow Partners to hopefully drive the built industry forward.
Yeah, yeah, very cool. And just in my relatively short time around here, you've done I think three projects in maybe the last 8 weeks or so. Some on mergers and acquisitions, some on AI and machine learning, and now we've got robotics in construction going on. So so I guess go all the way back to the beginning. Why do we need to do research in this space when we're talking about innovation, certainly, but also investing in innovation? What role does research play in this?
Yeah, so I think research is fundamentally really important. I'm a little bit of an introvert, so I'm a nerd, and I think research helps me, right? Because I can go sort of just nerd out and focus on something. But fundamentally, I look at like research that we do to really drive sort of 5 or 6 core components of the industry, right? So the research we do is focused towards improving the building process and performance of the buildings, right? So I think the research we do enables sort of what type of buildings can we build, how are they lower energy, those types of things. So I think it drives improvements of the buildings we're hopefully building and our customers are building. I think the research also helps paint a better picture of the construction process, right? So we know that the industry is highly fragmented today. We have trades that have been doing things the way they've been doing things for 40 years and don't want to advance. And then we have new folks coming into trades that want to make use of technologies and things to make their jobs more efficient. So the research allows us to better support the industry to paint that outlook of, hey, this is how you're going to enhance the future process, right? These are sort of the gaps in the process today, and hopefully we'll be able to make it more efficient. Then I think all research, this is a buzzword, so I don't like using it a lot, but sustainability is always a big buzzword. So I think research is important to understand how we can be a more sustainable industry, right? The built industry is unfortunately, it is a big causer of many of so the greenhouse emissions and some of the challenges we deal with as a world. And so hopefully we can drive more sustainable practices by doing more research around things like AI and robotics and construction and stuff like that. And then I think the other two things that really, for me, that the research is most important for is to help manage risk. Right. You can't really manage risk well unless you have the data that allows you to sort of look and analyze. Right. So hopefully the data that we provide and the research we provide, helps the industry manage their risk more. And then the other one is this sort of big bucket, but adapting to change. Right. Like I mentioned earlier, right. There's trades are coming in. Right. The workforce is changing. Consumer needs and demands are changing. Right. You look at companies like Microsoft that aren't even leasing spaces unless they hit certain requirements with green and LEED and sustainable. So research is important for us to make sure that we can stay ahead of those adapting changes and keep a pulse on what the market is moving towards. Because for us, that's how we inform our customers on the partner side, right? On bias, but also on the venture side, right? We make investments in the space. It's important for us to make strategic and well thought out investments. So our research obviously helps us, but hopefully, like I said, the research helps everyone else that has access to it as well.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a great point too. It's certainly there's the investment side. I mean, that's the lifeblood, not only of Shadow Ventures, but also without investment in the space, we would struggle to have innovation. It's got to be funded somehow, right? It's got to be supported. But you mentioned the advisory role, and that's right on, right? This is a value that the research creates or provides. If our advisory clients have questions about this, that, or the other, we have to have the research to back up our opinions
That's
or
exactly.
forecast or whatever the context of the question is. Um, so
A
that,
hundred
that's
percent.
a really
I
great
like
point.
to, if you know me, Jeff, I'm pretty opinionated, right? When I take a stance on things, but I'm also that's why research is really important, right? It's not everything is not an editorial, right? It's not my opinion or our
Right.
opinion that matters. It's here's the actual data that supports this conclusion, right? And I think that that's really important. Is opinions don't matter, data does,
Right.
and
Right.
research is what allows us to support that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. They're definitely informed opinions, if nothing else.
Right.
Um, so I know we have research partners, but how are you gathering data? How do you produce this research that you're working on?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So for us, we have a large network of people connected to the Shadow community and the Shadow network. So obviously, we go out to them and just sort of do true, primary research, right? So here's a survey. Please capture this. We also do primary research with, our advisory partners or media partners or clients, right? Going to them and talking beyond just what the survey says, right? So
Yeah,
surveys are great, but I do need some of that informed opinion as well. So we have those conversations with our network, and then we also do a lot of secondary research. Right? There's other folks besides just Shadow that are putting out really valuable data and really credible research. So we also do a lot of secondary research on sort of the existing data that's been uncovered by other groups in the industry.
yeah, yeah. And what happens? So I'm asking all these questions, um, but at the same time, I'm visualizing the flow of what we're doing here. So what happens after you've gathered all the data? What's the output, I guess?
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I can walk you through sort of my process, right? Because yeah,
Yeah,
we try to do lots of research, right? We're driving lots of innovation. So we obviously need research on lots of different topics. So what we try to do is, publish out a few different research topics at once and start capturing data. When we hit a point when, let's call it critical mass, right? When there's enough data to be valuable, right? I don't want opinion of 6 people. Like that's not valuable data, right? I want
yeah,
a true mass of data. So when we hit that point, at that point, my team and myself will go through the data, start slicing and dicing it, and seeing what it represents. Right, I try to take a very non-biased approach. Right, there's two ways to putting reports together with data. One is to take the data and make it, push it in a way that it supports your hypothesis and what you're trying to produce.
right.
Right. This is why we don't do sponsored data. Right. I don't like to take money from people who do sponsored data because that's the type of data that produces biased results. Right. So we just take a non-biased approach. I sort of slice and dice the data. And then sort of put it together, right? And we report on the parts that are most valuable. And I put together a small report. I don't try to put 40-page reports together for anyone because no one reads those, right? So we just try to take the valuable information we captured, make sure it's easy to consume for folks. And then we push out that report to everyone that participated in the research and then broadly as well to our network for anyone that finds it valuable. And then usually I like to have a conversation about it. So after we publish a report, we try to get on a round table with other folks that are maybe highly opinionated about it, and then sort of see, right, does that line up with the data, and sort of present those findings. And also that allows us an opportunity to engage with the broader audience and see, what pieces of the data are maybe credible to them or what's most important to them, right? So when we're slicing and dicing, because we're taking a non-biased approach, it's important to get that feedback from those folks as well, and talk through that, so those specifics, because that's the point of doing research, right? Is to make sure it's valuable for everyone. So.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It doesn't matter, right? If it's
Right.
not consumed, if it's not used. Um, so we were talking about this before we went live. Well, I'll ask it more broadly. What are some of the hottest topics right now What's driving the research topics.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, definitely our research topics I would say are driven by sort of the buzz things in the industry right now. So I think I would be I can't not mention AI or machine
Yeah,
learning, right? Everyone has an opinion on AI in every industry, right? Not just construction, not just the built industry, how it's going to apply to health tech and fintech and all these other orgs. But right, obviously, I have sort of blinders on to just our industry. So but AI is a big one that's obviously a buzzword, right? I was at NAA a couple of weeks ago. Sustainability was a big one again, especially as commercial real estate developers, multifamily developers. They need to build more sustainable buildings. So I think ESG sustainability is always a buzzword. Um, AR, VR sort of come up. It's sort of ballooned up and been really popular and sort of tapered down. I think like most things. Uh, and then obviously robotics is obviously really, really for our industry, I think is still a buzz, right? And really an important topic to drive innovation, right? So we've seen automation, we've seen robotics in other industries applied very well, but now it's important to understand how do we apply it to our industry well. So I think that's another one that's um, pretty big as well. I mean, there's lots. Digital twins still is always in the equation.
yeah,
I still hear BIM more than I'd like. Like BIM been around for 20 years. It's not innovative anymore, right? Like
yeah.
let's move on to what's the next level of BIM. So those are still, and I think in our industry, um, what we consider innovative maybe is a few years behind
Right.
the eight ball, right? Like BIM, right? So that's been around for 20 years, right? If that's where your innovation team is focusing on innovation, then you're a few steps behind, right?
Yeah,
But that's definitely a buzzword that still I think exists for us for sure.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and that's a good point, right? We're talking about built environment. By and large, AEC, architecture, engineering, construction,
Right.
and of course there's tangents and relations, close adjacencies, and things like that. But when you're talking about the research on AI and machine learning, it's about AI and machine learning for the built environment and robotics, built environment, things like that. So that's important. If somebody is new around here and they're not familiar with Shadow Partners or Shadow Ventures or any things that we're working on, that's really the context for this conversation. It's this research for innovation in the built environment or for the built environment. And sure, it's like you said, this is happening in healthcare, it's happening in other places, but this is our focus. This is our niche, if you will.
Right, 100%. So yeah, like you said, all of our primary research is to drive around that conversation, right? But that is the reason we have to do secondary research. We have to see and understand how is AI being applied in the health industry, right? How is it
Right.
being applied in other consumer-facing industries, right? Because maybe those applications will make sense in the future to drive innovative solutions for us here. So it's still important for us to do secondary research and rely on other folks that are focused on those industries. But you're absolutely right, right? Like our primary research is to drive innovation for AEC for the built
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And one thing I would say for anybody that's watching this, either right now live or in some sort of a time shifted format, probably on LinkedIn, but maybe YouTube. Um, if you want to know more, if you want to participate in any of these surveys that Manav has mentioned, or that the next one that rolls out, it'll be out probably in a few weeks. Let us know that. Hit one of us up on LinkedIn. Go over to the Shadow Partners website and reach out to us. The URL is in the bottom left hand corner of your screen right now, and we're happy to have you participate in this research because the more, like Manu said, the more data we have, the more data we collect, the more valuable and true the results are. So reach out to us. Like I said, that's one of the things that I have really enjoyed about Shadow and about Manav is just the amount and the passion for research. There are a lot of people out there talking about certain things. I'm not sure how many of them are backing up those things
right?
with research, with data. That's certainly happening around here, and I appreciate and I value that. And I know that our clients and our partners do as well. So shadowpartners.co is a great connection point, or reach out to Manav or I on LinkedIn. We'll be happy to get you hooked up. Manav, thanks a lot for this conversation today. Like I said, it's fun. It's fun participating in this, and great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jeff. And yeah, as Jeff mentioned, just to reiterate, please reach out about research for not only to participate in the research we're doing, but also if you've got ideas or hey, I've been hearing about these types of things. We love to talk, right? Like I said at the beginning, I'm a little bit of a nerd, so it's easy for me to run down a rabbit hole and start researching things. So, but yeah, if you have ideas or topics that are interesting, obviously, yeah, please reach out. I'd love to discuss.
Yeah, that's a great point, right? It just doesn't do us any good to do research on topics that people don't care about. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, that's a good one. So, thanks for joining us today or watching this later. Hope this has shed a little bit of light on the importance of research and innovation for the built environment. I'll be back tomorrow with another Shadow Short. So, hope you'll join us then, and have a great day. We'll see you later.
Thanks so much,
Thanks,
Jeff.
everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks.